Hey, this is Matt. Once again, welcome back to another review. This is another paid request, this time for Chad. Thank you so much for that. And for those interested in requesting pretty much any type of videos, topics, reactions, reviews, re-reviews, randomness out of the blue, whatever it may be, feel free to send them either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. This is for a film called Downtown from 1990. And this is one of those films I've seen a couple times throughout the years. Always enjoyed it. Always found it to be an underrated film. I mean, I wouldn't sit there and say it's one of the best buddy cop films of the era. But I think it's a film that is pretty decent. Because I thought it had some really good chemistry between the two stars, Forest Whitaker and Anthony Edwards. Forest Whitaker, of course, Academy Award winner himself. Although I still remember him from the first Species movie. And then Anthony Edwards, he was on the TV show ER. I remember him from Miracle Mile, which is an underrated film. He was also Goose in the first Top Gun. Pretty much Anthony Edwards is a beat cop in this sort of upper, prim, proper police station. His girlfriend is played by Penelope Miller, who I remember from the movie The Relic. One day there's a speeder, he goes after it, and it's this upper class guy played by David Clennon, who was Palmer in John Carpenter's The Thing. He was the guy that turned to the Thing when they were all tied up, and everyone's tied up, they can't get away, but he's turned to the Thing. That's David Clennon. He plays the villain in this. But here is just an upper class guy who's got connections. So Anthony Edwards gets in trouble, and he's either could be kicked out without pay, or suspended, I should say, suspended, or you go downtown, which he does. And as soon as he gets there, 10 seconds in, he's in the middle of a shootout in the police station. Until ultimately he meets up with Forest Whitaker, and they go on from there. Now again, I do think that when the action scenes happen, they're pretty decently done. Like that shootout I mentioned, the police station, rather good, editing-wise. The way it's structured, it's easy to understand what's going on, a lot of breakable stuff. You understand the location, where each person's at. I thought it was a nice introduction to Forest Whitaker's character. Because he comes in, you think he's another hoodlum. He takes Anthony Edwards hostage. He's got a shotgun. And the other's like, oh, who are you? You know, what's your name? He pretty much says he's a sergeant. Smacks one guy, shoots one guy on the shoulder, then goes to the guy, now what's your name? And it was cool to see Forest Whitaker in this kind of film. Because normally you think of Forest Whitaker, it's of much more dramatic work. Again, stuff that he's won Oscars for, and it was cool to see him in this type of genre because it was rare for him for us to see that. And yeah, I thought he had some good chemistry with Anthony Edwards. Other people, Art Evans, who he was in Die Hard 2. He was a guy in Die Hard 2 that would help John McClane. The scene where John McClane gets into one of his first big shootouts after he gets out of the vents and he's shooting the people and he rescues the guy before that antenna blows up. The guy he rescues is Art Evans. He plays the police captain, of course, yelling, screaming, cursing, as people call it, the angry black captain that you would see in 48 Hours, and Frank McRae did that in Last Action Hero. Rest in peace, Frank McRae. Bill Duke did a little bit of that in Action Jackson. Here is Art Evans. But he has some fun lines. Oh, a fuck up. Another goddamn 4-star Class A fuck up. They're all just a bunch of fuck ups. So you just say it plays with, you know, the tropes. But I'm a sucker for that. I'm a fan of the genre. So even if it's not the most original piece of filmmaking, I'm a sucker for that. I'm an action fan, #1 and central. People say, what's my favorite genre? It's action. If I did a list of my 100 favorite films, a lot would be action, because I'm an action junkie. I love action films. Not every action film, but I like a lot of action films, especially of the 80s and 90s. I'm a sucker for them. And you have other recognizable people. Joel Pantoliano, who's one of the bad guys in The Goonies, along with Robert Davi and Anne Ramsey. He was also in the first Matrix film. He's part of the group who's the turncoat, the traitor, that turns on the group in the third act. That's Joel Pantoliano. He's in here as one of the villains. I thought he did a good job in it. You know, there's nice moments of sincerity and seriousness. Like when Anthony Edwards' partner from his previous job gets killed, and Edwards being sad about that. Or Forrest Whitaker not sure on having a partner because his previous partner was killed. And there's a bit where him and Anthony Edwards share a nice moment as Forrest Whitaker tells his nice story about his first partner. And he ends with, "So, you want to be my second partner?" Some of the bits with Forrest Whitaker and his wife, where the wife is like, "Why are you so scared? You worry about losing another buddy? Well, look at me. I worry about losing a husband each night. One day you need to let it go." And Forrest Whitaker's a good actor. And that's showcased in this. There's a bit where the two have a fist fight. And ultimately says, "I don't want to see you get hurt." And then again, there's a couple of fun, decent action scenes. Like I said, that shootout in the 10 seconds when Anthony Edwards gets in. There's another hostage crisis where a guy has a little girl hostage, but he thinks of Jesus, and Anthony Edwards gets to speak to her, pretends he's Jesus. There's this big guy who trying to run away, and Anthony Edwards trying to fight him, but pretty much the guy just collapses on him. There's ever some bit in the third act, one death in particular of a bad guy, that is one of the better fucking deaths for a bad guy. Like, watch it again, I forgot. I went, "Oh, shit." Like, it's pretty fucking gory. I was surprised. I forgot. So, yeah. For the most part, I enjoy the film. I think it's entertaining. It's directed by Richard Benjamin. Richard Benjamin, he directed The Money Pit with Tom Hanks, among other films. And he was also an actor. He was the main star of Saturday the 14th. But he was also the main star in Westworld, the original 70s Westworld movie. He's the guy who Yul Brynner's chasing around the whole park. Because you have Richard Benjamin and James Brolin. And James Brolin gets killed. Yul Brynner is chased by... Yul Brynner is chasing Richard Benjamin throughout the whole park for the rest of the movie. So, yeah, he was an actor who turned to a director. I think one of the last films he directed, though, was Marcy X with Damon Wayans and Lisa Kudrow. I think he also directed City Heat with Clint Eastwood and Burt Reynolds. So he's definitely directed some movies, some better than others. I think this is one of his better, along with The Money Pit, one of his better directing jobs. And the only issue I have is, spoiler alert, in the third act, they're finding more info what's going on with David Clennon and connections he had with some dirty cops. So at one point, Joel Pantoliano, again spoilers, drives alongside the two of them and he shoots the window and injures Forrest Whitaker. So Forrest Whitaker is out of the picture for the whole third act. That was... Granted, when I first saw it, it was surprising, which I just was what I wanted to do. I didn't expect it. I went, "Oh, shit. Okay." So that's something that's not typical in a buddy cop film. So again, I say it does typical tropes, but that's one that's off the beaten path, yet I'm complaining about. So there you go. So I guess the tropes thing don't bother me as much because the thing that they did different is one of the main things I'm complaining about. But it's just I like the two of them together. I really did like the two of them together, and the fact that in the third act, Forrest Whitaker misses out on all the action because in super spoilers, Anthony Edwards goes in looking for drugs. He gets knocked out. He's tied up. Then Art Evans and the other cops get there, and it's a raid. Art Evans takes care of the turncoat inspector. Joe Pantoliano tries to choke Anthony Edwards. And you get a pretty good sequence where he's driving around and the guy on top is buckling around and almost flips over. And there's a point that Anthony drives into this construction that almost stabs him. He's got to pull back out. Ultimately, he drives and there's a wood chipper. And Joey Pantoliano goes into the wood chipper and he comes out a fucking bloody mess. Like, I'm like, ooh. Like, even I'm like, God damn, that's one of the gorier deaths I've seen in this type of movie. I'm like, holy shit. Like, he goes to wood chipper, and it's pretty... Maybe I'm building it up too much, but I thought it was pretty gory. I'm like, ooh, shit. How the hell did I forget about that scene? And then you think it's done, but then he finds David Clennon and gets in a big car chase with him until they both go through the nice upper police station and, catches the guy. And I like the last scene because now they're both in the hospital and Anthony Edwards has this thing that he likes the Beach Boys and he keeps playing it and Forrest Whitaker wakes up and is like, why? So he takes his gun and he shoots the radio playing the music. But it was just sad that Forrest is so MIA with the finale because he's a good actor. It was cool to see him in this kind of movie. He worked well with Anthony Edwards. I wish we could have seen that all the way through. Again, it made it different from other buddy cop films, but at the same time, you can see why that's not a typical format for buddy cop films because it may be less typical, but it's also less satisfying, if that makes sense. But yeah, I do think it's an underrated buddy cop film. I don't know if it's on. There was a DVD overseas. I don't know if it has anything in the U.S. I don't remember. DVD or Blu-ray wise. I should have looked it up before I did this. Well, let me look it up real quick. I got the internet here. So let me see real quick. Downtown 19... Now I'm thinking of that song. Downtown, going to tonight, downtown. Okay, yeah, there is something here. Let me see, Blu-ray.com. Let me double check. Is this actual Blu-ray? Sorry, I should have done this before. It's not saying much. It just says iTunes, Google Play, Amazon Prime, Vudu. Looks like a much older DVD that you can't find anymore. Let me check Amazon real quick. Again, I apologize. I should have done this before, but if I don't, it's just gonna bug me. But yeah, Downtown is, I think if you like buddy cop action films, it's worth a look. It might not change the genre for you. It's not going to be up there with Lethal Weapon or for me like Tango and Cash or such. Doesn't look like it. I mean, the DVD, there's DVDs from other countries. The DVD in the US is out of print. It was in January 2005. It goes for like 50, 60 bucks. And the DVDs you can buy is from overseas. A non-USA format, UK, you need Region 2 or a Region Free player. But it's $11.76. But it will not play on most DVD players unless it's region free. Same with blue, But that's sad that it doesn't have. That's a film that deserves a Blu-ray. That's not such a bad film that deserves not to be on fucking Blu-ray. Like, come on now. That Downtown should get a Blu-ray. Come on now, that's bullshit. The cast alone, the chemistry of the two leads, a couple of fun car chase action sequences. Idea, it's not Tango and Cash, it's not Lethal Weapons, it's not Bad Boys. But it's still a pretty decent flick. With two, likable lead characters. So, and it's 90-some minutes long, and went at a fast pace. And, represents a time where movies could be just more fun. And the type of movies they don't make anymore. Because that would be too political, or too this, too that. A nice old-fashioned buddy cop film. So if you like the type of stuff, I think it's worth a look. So with that said, thanks for watching. Take care. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.